I told you my thoughts. If you have to go down a rabbit hole of analytics to put somebody in the same conversation, I think you already have the answer to your question. And she's a great defensive player. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, you know, Asia's, if you watch the games, I just, her blocks, the way she protects the rim, they're dominant physically like a dunk in men's basketball. Like they impact the arena like a dunk, because she's so physically dominant. And um, there are certain players that I, fear defensively. I don't want them anywhere near the play. Alyssa Thomas would be one of those. Brittany Sykes, Natasha Cloud. I don't want them near the play when I'm drawing.
Hey, Coach, can you kind of put Kelsey's season in perspective this year? Kelsey Plum's season, just she's had a few ups and downs, but the way that she played, for instance, the difference between game one and game two, and her talking about thinking about that and responding, I just wonder if you can kind of put that in perspective.
Man, it's been a whirlwind for her. She's always the ultimate pro. She's always going to do what she needs to do to be ready. I saw tears in her eyes on the bench during that Seattle game, but I didn't know it was because she was throwing up. That your eyes water when you throw up. So I was like, "What is going on?" But she's a competitor. She takes a lot of pride in what she does out there, and no surprise at the bounce back game. She doesn't normally have two stinkers in a row, so we need her playing well. She's a big piece to what we do. And she's played well against New York too. So, but yeah, we're supporting her in every way that we can, physically, emotionally, spiritually, however we can assist her. But she's been an absolute rock star for us, on and off the court.
Hey, Becky. I asked Andy the same question. Both teams are going to go on runs at some point. They can throw up points and bunches like y'all. Is there a key to keeping those runs manageable, 8 points or whatever, instead of letting them get out of control, 15 plus?
Oh man, they are very good offense. I think you just have to, in order to try to stop the bleeding, you have to get stops. And I think it can be difficult and deflating at times because they have people that are going to make tough shots. You got to play on. You can't let those shots deter you from playing hard and competing on the next defensive effort. Go ahead, push pace back at them, and being efficient offensively. We've had really bad second quarters against them. Where we come out, we play well for 10 minutes, and then that second quarter, 2 out of the 3 games. Oh, spotlight. 2 out of 3 games, we've scored 8 and 9 points in the second quarter, which is really game, set, match. You can't have quarters like that against them. So, just there's I think an extra focus for us too in that aspect. But in every game, we've had the lead at some point. And it's just maintaining that and doing the things correctly. You can't make a lot of mistakes. That's just bottom line. Sorry. You can't make a lot of mistakes right now. And so we got to get it done on the defensive end. And then we know that obviously helps our offense.
Hi, Becky. Sandy spoke about who potentially your team's X factor could be in this series. She noted that Tiffany Hayes is someone, and just how great she's been playing as of late. I'm just curious, on the other side, who do you think New York's X factor is in this series, and why?
You want someone off the bench or one of their starters or what? I mean, they got a lot of factors. I love Fibich. I'm a huge fan of Fibich. She's got length. She has incredible feel for like guarding distance. Like she's close enough you can't get the shot off, but she's far enough and off you that you can't really go by her. And she's deadly from the 3-point line, which, you know, I love shooting bigs. So she's like a guard, but she's big. She's a big guard. So I think she just provides a lot of versatility for them. I think Sabali's been playing well for them. I mean, you could go down the list. They got a lot of threats down there. So we'll have our hands full, but we can't be letting Phoebich go off and have like 20. And then we'll go to the Zoom for a few and come back to the room.
Over here on the right. You know, yesterday you started to talk a little bit about, you know, Chelsea on the defensive end. So often, you know, people talk about her as a passer and a playmaker, but you mentioned how you think she's underrated on that end. Just what does she bring to you guys on that side of the floor, and how important will she be tonight in slowing down all the guards and long wings that they have?
Yeah. You know, the IQ that we always talk about with offense, it carries over to defense. I mean, she's a basketball player. She's not some crazy athlete that's going to like run faster than you and jump higher than you. She's going to beat you with her mind. And she makes plays with her mind on the defensive end. She's got great hands, great feel. Really guards bigger than she is in the post. Knows how to take charges, probably too much. Sometimes I'm like, just get out of the way. I don't want you to get hurt. We'll give up the 2. But she puts her body in places to be successful. And so she's, you know, like I said, a lot of times, if there is a mistake, she can correct it real time out on the court. And that's a real advantage to have, not just offensively, but defensively as well. Callie, we'll go to you.
Hey, Coach. Sandy spoke previously about how important the Liberty's chemistry has been, how it's changed. And I thought it was interesting that the Aces, they came all wearing Asia Wilson uniforms and wearing Tiffany Hayes clothing line. And I'm just wondering if you could speak to what that says about, I guess, the team's chemistry on and off the court, and whether you even knew they were going to do that.
I didn't know. In fact, when I was on the bus, I was like, why is everybody wearing jerseys? No, I mean, it's just their way of supporting each other. I think it's their little protest for Asia not getting DPY. And it's probably their support for Tip to get 6th player. I mean, that's just stating the obvious, I would say. So, you know, this team has great chemistry. They have a lot of fun together. You know, New York's chemistry, I think, has come exponentially far. I think they were very intentional as a group to spend time together or do something that they feel that they had in common together. That stuff matters. And I think it's been a separation factor for them. I think they've played like the best team all year. I think they've played like the pissed off team all year, as they should. And that kind of edge and that kind of, you know, I read an ESPN article, they said the trauma, or they have scars, and, you know, that can be a really powerful, powerful bond. So, yeah, I think it's a separation factor. But so far as my girls, I know they're just always trying to support each other, love on each other, surprise each other. They're always doing little things like that to support each other. Matthew and then Nikias.
Hey, Becky. Jackie has had sort of an up and down season offensively, especially post-Olympic break. She was really good in game 1 and 2 of the finals last year against New York. Obviously, we know what she does defensively, but what kind of things can you do to help her sort of find her rhythm offensively, especially early in this first game?
I mean, hopefully get her something easy. She's a lot of times you just need to see the ball go in the hoop, and then the lid comes off. So, you know, she's always night in and night out, you know, responsible for the other team's best perimeter player, which is exhausting. The fatigue stuff is real, and it all comes into play with shooting and explosiveness to the rim. And, you know, there can be a little bit of a snowball of an effect, but there's no doubt that Jackie, Kelsey, Chelsea, and Tip need to play well in this series for us to win. Final question from Zoom.
Yep. Hi, Coach. Hope you're doing well, first and foremost. As you kind of mentioned a little bit earlier about not wanting to make mistakes and not being able to afford those, With the way that you've leaned on your bench the second half of the year, like how much of a rope or how much leeway do you have in terms of kind of trusting your second unit versus going back to your starters if you feel like the starts of the second quarter are slow and things like that?
Yeah. I have a lot of trust in our bench. You know, everybody was, you know, and I rested the big four that last game. I think everybody was surprised that my bench came in and did what they did. I was not surprised. They kicked the first team's butt multiple times in practice when we scrimmage. So I have a lot of faith in them. They simply play the right way every time. You know, they have to. They don't have that talent that can just take over at times. And so, you know, going out there and putting up almost 100 points in any 40-minute game is a lot of offense. And so I think Sid, AC, Tip, I've thrown Megan in and out of lineups. They've all just responded like pros. KB hadn't even sniffed the floor up until that Dallas game. I thought she came in and played great. So a lot of times, some of that, you know, when I feel like our offense is getting a little bit stagnant, just adding Tip into the group or Sid automatically helps our ball movement because the bodies are moving. You can't get ball movement without body movement. So just their activity and energy a lot of times helps us on both ends of the floor.
Thank you.
Yep.
Becky, you were just talking about the edge that New York comes into this series with, given the scars and whatnot. Knowing that, how do you all as a group, do you just have to find a way to come with your own edge? Is that something, I mean, you've seen with your team
Yeah.
in general? How do you match that, I guess?
You know, we really didn't have it at the beginning of the year. I told them straight up, it's not good enough. The edge and the want to isn't there. We've found it though. In the last, I think at Dallas when we lost and gave up a big lead in the fourth quarter. And, you know, I think everybody had had enough at that point and they flipped a switch. They flipped a switch. I was like, so y'all was just punking me the whole previous 30 games. You could just turn it on like that. No, but they've been great defensively. And I really feel, you know, like we have our edge back. And I think it's a lot of professional sports when you're playing night in, night out, and you've had a lot of success. It's hard to keep them motivated and present that every possession matters. I think we know every possession matters. I think we have a veteran group that's been to wars, been to battles. They know what it takes. And so my feeling is that we're ready to go.
Oh, thank you. Hi, Becky.
Hi.
For a group like New York that has the length on the perimeter with a Fabich or Delaney Hamilton, what do you think is key to sort of reducing the length, the impact they would have on defense and sort of getting easy shots for yourself on offense?
They're big, we're fast. So spread them out and move them